Welcome Day is our way for students and families to start their RIT experience. There is a lot of different things that happen on this day. The few highlights that I would point out would be the resource fair that happens in the Gordon Field House, and this is your opportunity to interact with various faculty and staff and get to learn about resources available on campus. There is also the Parent and Family Lounge, and that is a great space for parents and families to get to interact with other parents and families and also just take a breather. It's a great place just to relax during this day. Orientation check-in also happens, and so this is the way that students find out who their orientation group is, and this will be what leads them throughout their entire week. So check-in for orientation is imperative. It's super important that students check in, get their lanyard, and have any of their questions answered about what the rest of the week looks like. The main goal for orientation is to help students start to settle into campus and find their sense of belonging here at RIT. Alongside of that, some of the other goals that we have for the week of orientation is receiving information that will help students feel like they are prepared to transition successfully to RIT. So whether that's in the classroom, it's about social lives, there is plenty of opportunities for students to have their questions answered so they feel that they are prepared for classes that start the following week. Another goal is to help students start to create relationships not only with their peers, but also with staff and faculty across campus. A lot of the program is centered around students being able to interact with their peers, upperclassmen students, such as their orientation leader, but also start to get to know the staff and faculty that make RIT so wonderful. Another part of our orientation goals is to help students transition through various educational topics. So some of those topics are wellness, some of those are belonging, and we offer several programs that will allow students to really settle in and understand what these topics mean on our campus and what resources are available. The final, and some may say the most important part, is being able to connect to their college and their academic program. Throughout the week, we have plenty of time carved for students to be able to get to know their college, get to ask questions about their specific academic program, meet with an advisor. And this is time that the students will have in various days throughout the week and getting to interact with very different faculty and staff throughout their college. And students really seem to enjoy that. Frequently asked questions about orientation would be, do commuters participate in orientation? The answer is yes. Commuters will participate in orientation through the full extent of the program. And we do have a few commuter-specific programs that happen throughout the week. For commuter students that are listening to this, I would advise you to keep checking the communications that you're receiving. There is signups available for some of our events. And when you get to check in, make sure to ask if you have any questions about what those events are so we can make sure that we welcome you and make sure you understand all of the support that's here for you as a commuter student. Another frequently asked question is, do transfer students participate in orientation? Also, yes. Transfer students can choose. They self-opt into one of our two programs. And the link for those programs can be found on this slideshow. So I would suggest clicking into that if you're a transfer student, reading through what those different programs are to better understand which one you would like to be a part of. And if you have any questions, definitely reach out so we can get you into the right program and make sure your transition is smooth. Another frequently asked question is, what is an OL? An OL is an orientation leader. This is the student that is going to guide you through your orientation week and also introduce you to what life at RIT is like. So this will be a upperclassman student who has interviewed for this role and is excited to welcome new students to campus. So I really suggest leaning into their excitement and energy and making sure you use them when you have questions or you just need a little bit of extra guidance as you're transitioning throughout the time of orientation. The next question is, how do students know their OL groups? This comes back to the check-in that I talked about earlier in this presentation. The most important thing about checking in is being able to figure out who your orientation group is. So your group will be on your name tag, and then the first part of the orientation program is to be introduced to your orientation leader. And from there, you will be able to identify them throughout the week, and this will stay the same person throughout the entire week. Orientation is a busy week. There is a lot of fun, a lot of great things to learn about RIT. There is optional parts to orientation. There is parts that we strongly encourage that you attend to help your transition to RIT be smooth. Some of these highlights will be meeting your OL on the first formal day of orientation and being able to meet the peers in your orientation leader group. Building meetings. So for those that live on campus, being able to get to know your RA, understand the policies and expectations of living in the residence halls, and really start to get to know your peers that are going to live on the floor with you. We have various educational programs that happen. These are things such as our wellness event and our belonging program. And these are important topics that we want you to lean into and understand the resources that are available at RIT. College Connection Day is the day that you will get to go to your college. You'll get to meet people from your program, as well as throughout the rest of the week, there's additional time to meet with an advisor and really make sure that you understand what your course schedule looks like for the following week when you get started. Convocation is a great kickoff. It is the way that you are formally welcomed to RIT by the president, and it's a really great event to be at with your entire orientation team. Connect and Serve is our service project that we do throughout the week of orientation, and so students will have the opportunity to help pack meals for the Hunger Project, and it's done with your orientation group. And you get to really understand the impact of the Hunger Project and get to do some really great reflecting within your group about what this type of service means for the community. One of the programs I touched on earlier was the Wellness Welcome. This is pretty much a whole bunch of tables set out for you to be able to understand all of our wellness resources. So whether that is about nutrition or you want to learn more about the gym at RIT, there's a lot of different opportunities to really lean into what wellness means when you are an RIT student. Every night of orientation, we have social programming. So we have some really great clubs and student organizations that come together to put on some awesome programs for all of the students. And these are fun, optional things in the evening time that you can come and self-select what you'd like to go to and get to know some of our clubs and orgs that happen here at RIT. You continue to think about what it means to become an RIT Tiger. I encourage you to click through these resource pages to better understand what move-in looks like, to better understand the welcome day schedule for orientation, as well as just general orientation information. If at any point you have questions, you'd like to learn some more information, or we can be of assistance of any sorts, please feel free to reach out to the orientation email address, the Parent and Family Programs email address, or the RIT Service Center, which will be really your space to ask questions if you're having challenges with ITS, if you need to reach out to housing. This is a catch-all for a lot of our programs here and ways to get in contact with folks. So please reach out if you have any questions, and looking forward to orientation.